dear students. I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today I will discuss about the Municipal Solid Waste Management Planning. So first of all, Municipal Solid Waste Management Planning. So as we already discussed about the Municipal Solid Waste Management Planning will involve all the process and all the people that will be having. Municipal solid waste management plan will involve all the people and all the person who are all the given rules that will be associated with the ULB, like municipal solid waste management rule, municipal solid waste management handling rule that has been given. So on this basis, there will be given some role to the stakeholders also. So the role of stakeholders in municipal solid waste management planning. So for this, one stakeholder will be there. So that stakeholder is making all the rules that will be required for making the municipal solid waste management planning. So in this way, a core team will be there, or that core team is called as advisory team, and some internal stakeholder also. They constituted for developing the municipal solid waste management plan. So one team has been formed. That team is sometimes called as advisory team also, or internal stakeholder also. They are constituted for developing the municipal solid waste management plan. The commission of the chief executive of the ULB should lead the internal stakeholder team. So the commissioner will be there, or the chief executive will be there for this ULB. They should lead the internal stakeholder team also. Typical stakeholder for municipal solid waste management system is basically involves the households, some businesses, industries, informal sector, legal government, NGO, CBO, SGS also, some women groups also, secondary school, college students, or members of other institution who may have the role in ensuring the involvement of the community. Typically, who are the stakeholders? So mainly stakeholders are anybody, they are involved in this management plannings also. So the first household is like, it will include some household people, businesses people, industries people, informal sectors people, local government, NGO, CBOs, women groups, secondary school students, college students also, or some members of the institution. They have role in ensuring the involvement of the community. So all these people are the stakeholders. Before we are thinking that who will be the stakeholder, so stakeholder means one group has been made, so that people who will be local people from that area, or those who are involved in informal sectors, and they will then what happen, the institution, they may have a role in ensuring the involvement of the community. So the management task will be like that. You can see after this making the stakeholders group, management tasks are there. So management tasks will be at three level. First is like mayor and president, commissioners, chief officers, health officer or some engineer will be there. Then sanitary inspector and supervisor. So the mayor, president, commissioner, chief officer, they will make one strategy, goal, policy decision, framework for municipal solid waste management, overall annual planning, overall monitoring, and then formation city sanitization task force. So strategies, this president, commissioner or chief officers will give the strategy goals like policy decisions, framework for municipal solid waste management, overall annual planning, overall monitoring, formation city sanitization task force. So these 5 points are involved for as from the management task. So the management task will be of a bigger person or some president or some mayor, and they will give some strategy goals, policy decisions, framework municipal solid waste management, overall annual planning will be there, overall monitoring will be there, and then formation site sanitization task force. Then after next stakeholder will be there. They are called as health officers and engineers. So in that, who will be involved? So in health officers or engineers, they will involve some technical supervision, monitoring operation, guidance operation, quality control operation, supervision of strategies and plan implementation. Supervision of all the strategies that has been given, and then plan its implementation. Then specific annual planning, responsibility for service contracts, stakeholder management, working counterpart, city sanitization task force. Responsibility for the service contracts, stakeholder management are there. Then working counterpart, city sanitization task force. Sanitary inspectors and supervisors are there. They will do the implementation and supervision of day-to-day operation services, guidance of human resource development, guidance of and human resource development. Then monitoring of contractors, complaint redresses, and then maintenance infrastructure and equipments and reporting also. So this sanitary inspector and supervisor are there. They will be involved, like complaint redresser will be there, or some maintenance of infrastructure will be required, and some equipments should be given, or what are the different equipments they should be provided. And then after the reporting of all these activities to the sanitary inspector, sanitary inspector will basically do the monitoring part of all the activities, like this activities is carried out in a perfect manner or not, what are the different pros and consequences while implementing all these activities. And they will provide guidance and human resource development also. Monitoring of contractors, and then complaint redresses, maintenance infrastructure and equipments, reporting facilities also. So these are the roles of the sanitary inspectors. Next is the extent of participation of a stakeholder. So means here we will discuss about the what are the extent, up to which level, and what is the role of the stakeholders, up to which these stakeholders are involved, and what is their role. So in case of passive, so the passive stakeholders are the some people or some local people. So their role is only to do some spectator, and they will not take any initiatives also. Then next point will come, this is about only for the incentives. So they are the participants. They will involve only to gain the money or only to receive the incentives. So participation participation of the people only when some gain will be there, only there is a kind of gain on, or there is a kind of profit also. And next is about consultation are those stakeholders. Their role is involved in the consultation. So for consultation they will be required, and there is an engagement only on the particular topic. Means these consultations should be involved, and they should be invited for the discussion only for a specific topic, only for a particular topic. Then they are not proactive members, they are normal members only. And they in this consultation session only question answer will be there. Next is the functional participation. So in functional participation there is a proactive, this will be involvement kind of proactive also. Next is the functional engagement and supportive efforts will also be there. Proactive and functional engagement and supportive efforts also there. Interactive participation means the participation which will be interactive, means the person who will be means some interaction will be there, some group discussion will be there, some queries will be solved while doing the group discussion or some interactive session. So they will be like some, they will do some things like they will be have ability to influence the decision makers and suggest or demand for the alternative options also. They are suggesting the demands for the alternative options. In self mobilization, is all self mobilization is involved with the willingness to contribute towards the resources. Means those they are those type of a stakeholder. They will involved, or they will involve to contribute to other resources, and highly empowered to take up all the activities. They are highly empowered to do all the activities. And next is about decision making. Means they are mainly here for the decision making processes. So these 3 points are there. Then means willingness to contribute resources, highly empowered to take up some activities, and decision making also. So establishment of the institutional framework and mechanism. Next will involve in this municipal solid waste management is like some establishment of institutional framework, planning for an efficient and advanced municipal solid waste management system. It should not be limited to a procurement of vehicles, equipments, or adequate infrastructure, but should also include an effective institutional structure. They will be capable to steer and implement the municipal solid waste management system. So some planning will be there, and that planning will be like efficient and advanced municipal solid waste management system, and it will be not be limited up to a procurement of vehicles like equipments or adequate infrastructure, but it should also include an effective institutional structure, and that is will be capable to share the implement, and that will be like capable to steer and implement the municipal solid waste management system. It is strongly recommend that the large ULB on a larger body urban large level urban local bodies will be there. They have a solid waste management department that will be headed by one environmental civil or public health engineer. Like this has been head will be from this background, either from environmental or from civil engineering or from public health engineers. While some small ULB small urban local bodies, they have a specific solid waste management cell with technical and managerial personnel or recommended in this manual. So the smaller solid waste management cell will be there. That cell will be working with some technical and managerial personnel as recommended in this manual. So some institutional framework should be established for the proper functioning. So in institutional framework will be like the planning for the efficient and advanced municipal solid waste management system. It should be limited, it should not be limited to the procurement of vehicles, equipments, and adequate infrastructure, but it should also having include some effective institutional structure. Means the institutional structure should be effective, and like some good offices or some, they will be have the capability to steer and implement the municipal solid waste management system. And then it will be strongly recommend that the large you will be have a solid waste management department that will be headed by the environmental civil or public health engineers or any person. And some small you will be small urban local bodies, they will be having specific small solid waste management cell with some technical and managerial personnel as recommended in this manual. Next point is like there is also a need to train and build the capacities of the staff involved in the solid waste activity. So here we are discussing about the institutional framework. Institutional framework for framework. It will involve some civil, environmental people that will head the group, and then after small ULB cell will be there. ULB cell will be there. This will be cell will be like they will monitor all the activities. Then after there is an urgent need to train and build the capacities of staff involved in the municipal solid waste management activities. Adequate and appropriate personal protective equipments should be provided to the employees and contractual worker. The adequate and appropriate personal protective equipment (PPE) should be given to the employees and contractual worker. Adequate training should be given to them to ensure that they wear the PPE kit they has been provided. Means PPE kit should be provided employees and contractual worker, and then adequate training should also be given to them because training is also very much required, and it should be ensured that they are wearing the PPE kit that has been provided, and they are taking all the major actions that should be taken for their precautions, and the sanitation is also very much important. So in this slide, you can see that this is a goal and is the responsibility for the waste management from collection to the disposal. So first, it will involve the goal. What is the goal? Goal is to provide responsible for the waste management from its collection to its disposal practices. Then after, two points are there. First is the protection of environment quality and health condition. Money for service quality, ULB is guardian of the public money. So protection of environmental quality and health condition, then money will be there for the service quality like ULB, and they are the guardian for the public money. So both will involve with some principle will be there. And what are the principle? First principle is like accountability for deliver and quality of services, transparent and well defined responsibilities for all the tasks. Authorities act as service provider to the public. So accountability for delivery and quality of services, transparent and well defined responsibilities for all the tasks. Authorities that can act as a service provider to the public. So this principle can work on the 4 points. First is about decentralization, delegation, professionalization, and supervision. So in the decentralization process, what happened? There will be a decision making close to executing the actors and decision of towns into the zone. So then decision will be there. That decision is coming from the town to working for the efficient working and division of the town into the zone and clear line structure, transfer of function to external actors, private sector, CBO, etc. Professionalization will involve the capacity building to the workers, some equipments, human resource development, and well educated staff. So they are involved with the professionalization, like capacity building for the workers, and then after supervision. So supervision in case of like day-to-day supervision of the services, database, and SLP. So this is the whole picture of this municipal solid waste management. First is their main major goal is to provide a responsible for the waste management from its collection to its final disposal. Then protection of the environment quality and health condition. Then money for service quality, ULB is the guardian of the public money. For these 2 points, the three principles are there: accountability for delivery and quality of services, transparent and well defined responsibilities for all the tasks. Authorities act as a service provider to the public. Accountability is will involve the delivery and quality of services, transparent and well defined responsibility for all the tasks. Then authority will be there, that authority acts as a service provider to the public. Mechanism will involve some decentralization, delegation, professionalization, and supervision. So, decentralization is like decision making close to executing actors, division of town into zones, clear line structure. Delegation is a transfer of function to external actors, private sector, CBO, etc. Professionalization is like capacity building to the workers, equipment, human resource development, and well educated staff. Supervision is to day supervision of services, database, and SLP. And now, after this, all these things, next point will come. This is about the ISWM hierarchy. So, in this integrated solid waste management hierarchy, it is a kind of a comprehensive waste prevention, recycling, composting, and disposal program. So, source reduction of the waste. So, first is about reduction of waste, then recycling and composting waste to energy and landfill. Reduction will involve the minimization of waste, reduction in the waste, and then sustainable use of the waste. Processing of non-biodegradable waste to recover commercially valuable materials, that is plastic, paper, metal, glass, e-waste, and recycling. Composting is involved with the processing organic waste to recover the compost. For example, windrow composting, in-vessel composting, and vermicomposting. Waste to energy is like recovering energy before final disposal of waste. For example, it's different types which are be followed is the RDF, biomethanation, then co-processing of the combustible non-biodegradable dry fraction of municipal solid waste, incineration also. Landfill will be like safe disposal of inert residual waste at the sanitary landfill. So now we will discuss about the integrated solid waste management governing features. What are the governance? What are the rules that has been followed for the integrated solid waste management? So the governance strategy to deliver a well-functioning system of integrated solid waste management until the 1990, and that will be probably have been framed primarily around the technology, but there is a consensus today on the need for the much broader approaches also. So the governance strategies will deliver a well-functioning system of integrated solid waste management until up to 1990. Then probably they have been framed primarily around the technology, but there is a consensus today on the need for the much broader approaches. Three interrelated requirements for delivering ISWM are distinguished under the framework of good waste governance. So there three categories will be there, and there this will be required. What is why this need? Why this need of this integrated solid waste management it will be there? So first is about the be inclusive, providing transparent space for stakeholder to contribute as user, provider, and enabler. Inclusive will be there, and they are providing some transparent spaces for all the stakeholder. They will contribute as user, provider, and enabler only. Be financial sustainable, which means cost effective and affordable also. Rest on the base of the sound institution and proactive policies. Without such a strong and transparent institutional framework, the system will not work well over a long term period. So the rest of the base, sound institution and proactive policies. And without such a strong and transparent institutional framework, the system will not work well over a long term also. Financial sustainability, that means cost effective and affordable technology also. Inclusively will be like they will provide some transparent space for the stakeholder to contribute as user, provider, and enabler also. Be financially sustainable. Financially sustainable means cost effective and affordable technologies. The municipal government is will be like they will be responsible for solid waste management in a city, but they cannot deliver on the responsibilities by prescribing or undertaking measures in isolation entirely on their own also. The base solid waste management system involve all the stakeholders in planning, implementing, and monitoring the challenges. So the municipal governments, they are responsible for a solid waste management in any city, and they cannot deliver on that responsibility by prescribing or undertaking measures in the isolation entirely on their own. The best solid waste management system involves all the stakeholders in planning, implementing, and monitoring the challenges. Users or waste generators are the key stakeholders in waste management. User are there and the waste generator are there. They are the key stakeholders in the waste management, and they are basically NGO, women's union, and other organizations that represent them in the policy and governance process also. That's why inclusivity is there. The reference cities demonstrate the range of good practice in the area, like some reference cities will be there. They will select and demonstrate some range of good practices in area like some consultation, communication, and involvements of users, participatory and inclusive planning, and inclusivity in siting facilities also. Institutionalizing inclusivity, the solid waste platform. So these four points are there. First is about the consultation, communication, and involvement of user. Participatory and inclusive planning also. Inclusivity in siting facilities. Institutionalizing the inclusivity, the solid waste platform also. Next point is come, which is about the financial sustainability. So the financial sustainability in solid waste management process is the major issue for any cities and all over the world, because in developing countries like us, this solid waste management represents a some significant portion of the total recurrent budget of the city. This will be like 3 to 15%, 3 to 15% of the total recurrent budget. They have been reported by the reference cities. When the solid waste budget are divided by the population and their per capita figure is expressed as the percentage of GDP, most of the city are in the range of 0.1 to 0.7%. and yet then relatively high cost also. The collection services coverage is often low, and disposal standards will remain the poor also. So the solid waste budget are divided by the total population, and then the per capita figures is expressed as the percentage of total GDP. Most of the cities are in the range of 0.1 to 0.7%. Yet in the relatively high cost, the collection services coverage is often low, and disposal standards will remain poor also. Next is like an essential first step is to establish current cost to serve as a baseline for comparing the cost of any proposed improvement. So the essential first step is to establish the current cost that will serve as a baseline for comparing the cost of any proposed improvement to the waste management system. So the main important point, very essential step is to provide one established current cost that can serve as a baseline for comparing the cost of any proposed improvement to the waste management system. So this is all about the financial sustainability. Next is the sound institution and proactive policies. Strong and transparent institutional framework is essential for the good governance in the solid waste. Without such good framework, the system will not work well over the long term also. Indeed, it has been suggested at the 2001 United Nations Habitat World Urban Forum that has the cleanliness of a city and the effectiveness of its solid waste management system could be useful as a proxy indicator of good governance also. If the waste services are to be effective, a city must have the capacity and the organizational structure to manage finance and the services in the efficient and transparent manner also. Streamline management responsibility with communities, and you have to listen to the users also. So then what does it mean? Like some, if waste services are to be effective, that should be make effective, then the city must have the capacity and organizational structure to manage the finance and services in an efficient and transparent manner also. Streamline management responsibility with the communities, and then it will listen to the users also. The necessary condition that must be met for successful private sector involvement include the competition, transparency, and accountability, all of which help to ensure that the contracting process is free from corruption, that the citizen receive the service as contracted. Means the service should be transparent. Okay. So the service should be transparent, and it should be free from corruption also. And the citizens should receive the service as what they have contracted. Gender equity aspect. This require intervention to protect women from the harmful effect of unhygienic practices like human scavenger. So that practices will also affect their social functioning in childcare and family food supply also. The municipal solid waste system design should therefore consider the health and safety concern of women. This system will design and should be therefore consider the health and safety concern of women. The municipal solid waste management should also be engaged in the social impact assessment to bring gender gap to the forefront of systematic analysis and corrective and appropriate responses also. This municipal solid waste management should also engage in a social impact assessment to bring the gender gap to the students to the forefront for systematic analysis and corrective the appropriate responses. So these are the references of some of the textbook that you can follow for the further study. So thank you for today's lecture. If you have any query, if you have any question, you can write in the comment box, or you can mail me onto my given mail ID shikha.pandey@gmail.com. Thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.